Man, guys, Christmas in September, week one of the NFL is upon us. Finally, the Vikings at Tennessee is the game we're talking about with Bryan Leonard and Marco D'Angelo. I'm Scott Spreitzer. Vikings are about a 2.5-point favorite, down from 3. The total sitting at 41. That's come down about a point and a half. We know from our good friend Matt Holt over at CGT that the adjustment on the Minnesota Vikings as far as the spread is concerned, about 4.5 to 5 points thanks to the injury to Teddy Bridgewater. Marco's starting quarterback has not been named for Minnesota. It looked like it was going to be Sean Hill, and then they go out and get fleeced by Philly, but they had to, and they get Sam Bradford to come in. And as of the time that we're talking about this on video, they haven't named which player is going to be a starting quarterback. I've read some write-ups that talk about, well, both Bradford and Sean Hill are better long-distance passers than Teddy Bridgewater. Not according to some unnamed NFL execs who said Sean Hill doesn't have the arm to go long consistently anymore. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Minnesota because, how much can Bradford absorb of the playbook if they want to go with him right away? I think they probably put the Band-Aid on. They haven't announced. I would go with Sean Hill for week one because he knows the offense. Give Bradford some time to learn the offense a little better. But you're looking at Minnesota with Zimmer. He's been an absolute ATM, for the NFL. Last year, 14-3 was his team against the spread. And if you go back under Zimmer, they're 24-9 against the spread. And a lot of that was because this is a Minnesota team that has, if not the best, one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the NFL. And that's what they're going to rely on. And if you're Sam Bradford getting out of Philadelphia, look at the way things went full cycle. I mean, he was at St. Louis a couple of years ago, got hurt, again, gets moved to Philadelphia, not really happy in Philadelphia. Then they go out and make the early draft choice with Carson Wentz, and then he's signs a contract, but he's not happy because they draft a quarterback, and now he lands in Minnesota. He could end up, I don't know if Minnesota can go all the way to the Super Bowl, but this is a defense that's as good as Baltimore's whenever Trent Dilfer took them to the Super Bowl, and some other teams we know that got to the Super Bowl without a quarterback. But I'm not going to look at the game as far as the side. I think the total's the way to go, and I'll let Bryan chime in before I go there.
Let me jump on that, Ryan, real quick. The flip side of this game is obviously the Tennessee Titans. They start last year 2-9 straight up. They were 15 points away from being 7-4 after their first 11 games, and that was with a head coach who forgot he has to have an offensive line to protect the quarterback, a rookie quarterback last year at that. Do you think they're being shortchanged going into this season, or do you agree with the fact that Tennessee's not there yet?
Well, I bet Tennessee over season wins. I think that's a team on the verge. Everybody's talking about Jacksonville in this division. I think Tennessee's going to surprise. As for the quarterback situation, he does have experience in this offense. We're talking about Bradford. I don't think he's going to start here because he's new into the system. But if you're at Minnesota, all you've got to be, I hate to say it, but you just got to be a guy who hands the ball off, manages the game. As the team that won the Super Bowl last year didn't have a quarterback. They managed the game and they won. That's what they're going to have to do this season regardless. But I do think Bridgewater's injury is worse than what they're letting on, which is why they did this, because I think he misses next year also.
Well, they're talking about now that the Viking trainers, saved his leg, not just possibly his career, but that's how bad it was. They were saying he saved his leg. That's how bad. A non-contact injury and just tore it up. Mitty comes in 22-5 against the spread. You mentioned how good they were last year, number 1 team in the NFL against the spread last season, but you're looking at the total, as you mentioned, Mark.
Yeah, because this is a situation, you look at, first off, they're telling you something with the total. We've seen NFL totals that 45, 46 and higher. We're looking at a 41 here. And if you're going to look at the game plan, if I'm Tennessee, you see what they went out and did. They built this team to run the football, take the pressure off the quarterback, and that's going to also protect their defense, which this is the second year in Dick LeBeau's defense. So you're going to expect to have a little bit of improvement on the defense that was their Achilles heel last year. And if you run the football and you win the time of possession battle, that's automatically going to make your defense better. Then you look at the flip side. We already know that Minnesota's defense is good, and no matter which quarterback you go with, if it's Bradford, it's going to be a reduced playbook this week. So it'll be a big dose of Adrian Peterson and just, make some throws necessary to try to win the game. They're going to try to manage it, get through this game, and win. If it's Sean Hill, as you said, a lot of people don't think he can go downfield. So he's not going to stretch that field. He will be more productive running the other plays in the short patterns, but still, this is going to be a team that's not going to put the game in the hands of Sean Hill. They're going to put the game in the hands of Adrian Peterson. So if you got both teams that are going to want to use clock, I got to look at the under in this one. Two teams that are going to run the football, when one of them has a very, very good defense, that tells me I'm on the under, and I've got it projected at like 37 points in this one. We're looking at 41. I'll take the under.
And I got to tell you one more addition to that. What you're saying is, the Tennessee wide receivers, I'm like you. I think Tennessee was an over going into this year as far as win totals were concerned, and it went up to 6. I think it's pretty heavy as far as the juice on the over, at least at Westgate. But their receivers are about that much better than the three of us, and we're both, we're all three just maybe running 4.8 40s, not quite like they should be. Anyway, he's Marco. He says take the under between the Vikings and Tennessee. Don't forget you can take $10 off any WagerTalk.com package this week. All you got to do is use the coupon code Brady10. Best bet still to come. We are WagerTalk TV.